Since CNN first broadcast the allegations in mid-January that Rohingya, an ethnic minority fleeing Myanmar, were being dumped at sea by the Thai military, a lot has changed. This was a boatload of 78 Rohingya who arrived in Thailand on the 27th of January. This time they appeared in court after having been actually rescued by the Thai Navy. 4 of the men were treated in hospital after Thailand's Prime Minister ordered that they should be allowed to recover before being deported. The Prime Minister also told me as soon as he found out what was happening, no more boatloads of Rohingya were towed out to sea, and now he's trying to find out who was responsible and bring them to justice. I don't think anyone is suggesting that you ordered this to happen, but I just want to be very clear about this. You are saying that it did happen.
Well, you have to, when you say it did happen.
Towing refugees out to sea.
I believe that there are instances where there are boats that were let to drift to other shores, but given food and water. And certainly, not according to a lot of earlier reports, that they were somehow abused, experienced some body abuse or whipping, tying hands. Some reports say they were thrown into the ocean and so on. These so flatly denied, and I have not learned of people who can confirm such instances. But, as I said, I believe that there were cases when boats were let to drift to other shores, but given food and water. Would you like to condemn that policy now? Well, I would like that practice stopped, and I would like a more efficient way of dealing with the problem. Let me reiterate that these people are basically people who look for economic opportunities. They are young men looking for jobs. Thai villagers on the islands where some Rohingya had been living rough claimed they weren't just worried for their jobs. This man says when the Rohingyas came ashore, they didn't have anything to eat. They destroyed villagers' property. They cut down coconuts or got into houses to search for something to eat. Whatever they thought they could eat, they would take. That's why the villagers are worried, he says. The UNHCR points out that even if those claims are true, they still don't justify towing Rohingya out to sea and cutting them adrift.
Thailand is party to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the most basic human right is the right to life. So the lives of the Rohingya people should not be put at risk by sending them out to sea to die. You don't have to be a human rights lawyer to know that you just don't tow people out to sea and abandon them.
Yet that's precisely what appears to have happened. The question now is who did it and why. Who ordered this policy? It's not exactly clear whose work it is. All the authorities say that it's not their policy, but I have reason to believe that some instances of this happen, and if I can have the evidence as to exactly who did this, I would certainly bring them to account. But you're the Prime Minister of Thailand. You've admitted that this has taken place. Under your leadership, are you willing to apologise now for this policy? Well, again, you said earlier that you didn't believe that it was under my orders or my policy. Some of these instances probably happened even before I assumed full powers. I have already said that I regret any incidents and losses that may have happened, which is again not confirmed. And I'm doing the best I can to correct the situation. Human rights groups say those responsible must be held to account.
Violators of these laws absolutely need to be brought to justice. There are violations of the law of the sea at issue here. There are violations of international refugee law here. And there are simply basic violations of international human rights law.
The government's Department of Special Investigations will look into allegations people smugglers were involved with organising the boats that brought these men to Thailand. But Human Rights Watch is concerned that it will be the army investigating who towed the boats back out to sea.
We can say that now it is the right hand investigating the left hand. The army is looking into the misconduct of the army. The only mechanism exists at the moment is the internal investigation by the military, which lacks transparency and credibility.
But the Prime Minister rejects that claim.
The Human Rights Commission is not even under the control of the government. I invited them to participate.
And I welcome all the information and evidence that the NGOs and other groups that would like to provide me with this information to come forward.
But they will provide evidence, but they will not be the ones to reach a conclusion. It will be ISOC that reaches a conclusion.
No. We're fact-finding. ISOC provides its version. Other people give me the information.
Just to be clear on this, so you will be the one who will decide, having weighed up all the evidence, who is responsible,
right,
and what punishment
and obviously, because it goes through the due process of law, I will decide which is the best channel of proceeding with that.
Hello, brother. Hello,
You might wonder what happened to Iqbal, the man we found terrified on a Thai island. Well, he remains in custody. He insists he's a Bangladeshi citizen and has been trying to get help from his embassy, but he ended up on a boat loaded with Rohingya and is now behind bars with them. His family, who are in a refugee camp in Bangladesh, found out he was alive after a local aid worker showed them our footage. Iqbal's wife, a Rohingya, wept with joy. She'd given her husband up for dead. And there's other good news. Since we broadcast these photos, our sources indicate no more boatloads of Rohingya have been abandoned at sea.
We regret some of the incidents that have happened in the past. They are now being corrected, and I believe that we can only solve this problem through regional cooperation with global understanding.
But amid all the diplomatic talk, it's easy to forget what's at the heart of this issue. It's about men and women. It's about boys and girls. It's about people like you and me, except theirs is a world bereft of hope. They remain a forgotten people.